Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Battle Rhythm Podcast, the official Sherman VFW Post 2772. I am your host, Caesar. I am very, very, very excited to have on this first podcast, live broadcast, actually, that we're doing. I have my very first true guest, a man that requires no introduction in the state of Texas. All right. This is the man, the myth, the legend, and with a very new look. Commander Lynn Toomer, how are you, sir?
Outstanding. How y'all doing tonight?
We're living the dream one neighborhood at a time out here in Texas, So I understand that you were stuck in traffic for the last hour.
Oh, Washington, D.C. is crazy. We were actually in a legislative meeting, so we got done with that, and I got here as quick as I could. I appreciate everybody waiting on us.
Well, I think everybody was anxious. I think there are a couple in right now. So because they were waiting since 6 o'clock, so they're probably like 2 or 3 in right now, which I'm kind of jealous because I wish I was 2 or 3 in, but I'm drinking water right now. So
Yeah,
but
you and me both got some Aquafina.
You're being sponsored by Aquafina now. There you go. So, Commander, how's your campaign going? I know you're doing the national bid this year. So, how's that going?
Campaign is going outstanding. We've been across 7 states so far. We've got 7 more to hit. Got a year and a half to get it all done. We covered 14 states. These the elections for National Junior Vice Commander in Chief are done by conferences, and that's just I'm sure just to save everybody money, because covering 50 states would cost $2 or $3 million.
Yeah, we don't have that kind of Trump money.
Yeah, no kidding. I know I don't. But no, right. It is going outstanding. Just got back from Tennessee, had an outstanding trip there. The week before that, we were in Georgia. And this weekend, we're in Washington, D.C., and we're going to spend the rest of the weekend in D.C. fighting for our veterans' rights.
There we go. This is the reason why I at least I joined the VFW, because I knew that I wanted to give back. And doing this podcast now, I feel like I'm trying to get back with trying to get guests that actually are in positions that are actually giving back in a way that even in the national level, state level and national level, where we can actually make a difference. All right, it's a grassroots campaign, and it actually starts with the bottom, and then go from there. So this is
absolutely.
awesome.
Absolutely. This is the only organization that the membership rules. Whatever the membership votes is what happens. We just do what you tell us to do at every level above being a member.
Well, I would like a brand new car, so can you do that?
If the member votes to get you a brand new car.
Okay, let's just start with lower interest rate, okay? Lower interest rate would be better. That would be, just cancel out the lower interest rate, or just cancel out the interest rate at all. Just, interest free. That would actually do a lot better. So, one last question. Well, not last question, but as far as your campaign, how many other candidates do you have against you for the junior?
We've got 5 other candidates running against me.
Okay. And then do they have the same kind of experience as you are? I think you're like way, way, way above everybody else.
Well, most of them have been past state commanders. Okay. That's pretty much standard operating procedure there. Past state commanders, several of them have been on the countdown. Okay. But some of them have been on the National C of A. One of them was the past national Cootie president. So, I mean, you've got all kinds of experience. And it's just like when you run for office in the VFW, you're running for a position. You're not running against anybody. So everybody's running for the same position. We'll see what happens when the water washes us all off, and see who's standing up.
Right. Last man standing. It's like in Hunger Games, really.
Exactly.
My wife and I were having a discussion earlier today, and she's like, well, where do I vote? I'm like, well, I think they do it in like kind of what we do when we go to state convention. And she's like, well, I want to go vote. Like, what the heck is, like, I want to do it. And I was like, I don't know if we can. Like,
it's actually a pretty good deal. Each state gets 5 delegate votes. So no matter how big your state is or how small your state is, you have the same impact on the vote.
Okay, kind of like the, sorry, our electoral college
Yes, sir.
type of thing.
Exactly like the electoral college. And
Okay,
some
gotcha.
people like that, some people don't. You know?
Well, you got to get as many electoral votes as you can, right, to actually
Yes,
get that
sir.
that stuff. All right, so out of those 5 candidates, how many are actually Marines? You and another guy. All right, perfect. So what you're saying is that you probably have either no chance or the biggest chance to do it.
Oh, absolutely the biggest chance.
There we go.
No
Only a
doubt
Marine would say that. Only a Marine would say that.
about
And I'm only telling you this because I was active duty Navy, so I was always your ride. So that's the
Hell yeah,
reason why I'm
Uber
telling
up.
you. That's right. So all right, so let's get down to the nitty gritty. The reason why I actually wanted you to get on this podcast is because I was actually having a very good conversation with a very good friend of mine, and actually your foreman, chief of staff, Eddie Terry. And I was telling him, I was like, hey, so this is, I'm doing this podcast thing, and I'm trying to, get some living, kind of like a Library of Congress type of thing, where we're actually recording firsthand accounts of where people have been and things like that. And I mentioned, I was like, yeah, I'm doing the VPR I just finished the VPR for Operation Desert Storm, and my next one's going to be Somalia. And he's like, hey, why don't you reach out to Lynn Toomer? I was like, what do you mean? He's like, he was there. I'm like, but he was there like, when Black Hawk went down. I'm like, is that why Luke Wilson is portraying him?
Shit. Not that crazy, but anyway.
So tell me a little bit about that. Like, when did you actually get to Somalia, and what was
Oh,
at that point? I believe it was with George H.W. Bush, father, that all this stuff happened, right? And then 19 right
it was
before
91.
91. Okay, so
No,
it was right before Clinton took over office, right?
no. Clinton was before. I'm not much on presidents. I
Okay,
just do what they tell me to.
right.
But anyway, uh, I had just come back from Desert Storm, and we were back home for 6 months. And for Christmas, they sent me to Somalia.
Oh gosh, what unit and what was your job in the Marines when you were there?
I was with 3rd Assault Amphibian Battalion, Amtracs, which no longer exist in the Marine Corps. They've pretty much cut them out, from what I understand, anyway.
Wow,
So
so
yeah,
it's an obsolete job, huh?
yes, sir. They've
Oh,
gotten rid of it. Yeah, we did amphibious assaults, and that's the funniest thing. I'm trained on amphibious assaults, right?
right.
I go to the desert and to the jungle.
It's like that always
Guess
happens.
guess what? All good Marines are.
Well, you're supposed to be. You're like a hybrid of what a Navy SEAL is, really.
First and foremost, you're an 0311. You're a grunt. And guess what I did?
You grunted your way to Somalia.
Yes, sir. I was ground pounding with the best of them.
Oh my gosh. Right, that's the one thing we always seem to forget, right? So we always seem to forget that, right? Marines are always a first response. Anywhere we are, Marines are always a first response, and then they're followed by the Army, and who are being taken by the Air Force, and then lately the Navy would be like in the rear with all the gear because they're actually bringing it through with the boats. So, you know.
Hey, we all have our purpose and we all function well together.
That's right. People don't understand the logistics. I was having this
Oh,
conversation with Cindy Underfesser, the 2772 adjutant,
yeah.
and I was having some conversations like people do not realize how much of a logistical nightmare it is to actually move just one piece of equipment. You have to coordinate with this unit over here because they're the ones that have the water, and then the ones that have the fuel, and then they have so all this logistical stuff. People don't understand how much and how big it actually is.
For every one person you have in the combat zone, it takes 100 people on average to support that person.
See, people don't realize that, and thank you for pointing it out. That's actually a
Yep.
very good point because and like our organization, right? So let's just take our organization for instance. We, the one person that goes to DC to lobby for all of us. We need more members to do what you can do, right? Because the more members we have, the more say we have, and the more say you have in areas like DC, right?
Right. That's the whole purpose of our membership, is to give us the power when we're up here on Capitol Hill. Our national office is 2 blocks from the Capitol. You can step out the front door of our national office and see the Capitol. I mean, we're right in their front door. So if the lower our membership is, they quit paying attention. But as long as we keep our membership up, and that's why it's so important. You've got comrades, you've got all these young guys, and I didn't join the VFW till I was 42, and it was strictly on accident.
That was last year, right?
Year before last.
Okay.
I mean, the original owner of my company was a World War II vet, and he comes in one day and says, "Hey, you're a vet, right?" He said, "This medication's getting too expensive. I need some help." So I made some phone calls, and they sent me to the local VFW post, took him down there, and have been a member ever since. I saw what the VFW could do, what they were for, and I was hooked.
There you go. See, it only takes either one instance, right? Like, well, the first time you ever saw a Marine uniform, I'm pretty sure you said, "I'm going to be a Marine," right?
I was just the meanest son of a bitch in the valley, so.
Well, that's what every Marines say. I don't understand that. That's like,
Well,
that is like ingrained in you guys.
Yeah, I was just keeping it polite.
Well, the good thing is that we're not being, set out by the FCC, so we're good. We're good on that point. And I'm pretty sure that a lot of people are actually thinking like, wow, these guys are like just talking like nothing. So that's good. Let's get back to the Somalia thing. So
Okay. We were shipped out to Somalia. We hit the ground and we were stationed. We actually set up sandbags at the stadium. That's where we were operating out of.
Yeah.
And that's where we did patrols out of. Hopped in the back of 5 tons. I mean, you want to talk about crazy. We had guys riding by on donkeys. You can't make this shit up.
They actually invented the Tata trucks, right?
Well, no, they had the Tata trucks too, but these guys would ride by on donkeys and shoot at us. And we're sitting there in the stadium. We're laying on our racks, sandbags in front of the openings and everything.
Right.
But in the middle of the night, they'd ride by on donkey and start shooting, and we'd roll out of the racks, hit the floor, everybody load up and take off.
And I'm pretty sure at that point, like, man, I just literally had dinner and I have to roll around right now, right?
Oh, yeah. It got crazy.
But when you got there, what do you remember how the political atmosphere and or how were people, civilians there, how were they? I understand that this whole thing started because it was a humanitarian relief, because there was a famine going on at that point in time.
Correct.
How was their demeanor? Was there were they happy they were there? Were they seeking help?
The people were happy we were there, but that was one of the craziest places I'd ever been to, because I mean, we're walking patrol through downtown Mogadishu, and there's people everywhere just sitting against the walls, talking, walking down the streets, doing everything. We take a left turn, go down an alley because we hear some gunshots, and I'm walking point at this time, and all of a sudden there's some big old elephant leaves hanging out of the side of the buildings, and all of a sudden you hear pop, 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 pop. Everybody hits the deck. We couldn't return fire because we couldn't see anything.
Right.
So I mean, that was the craziest. And you want to talk about some cool stuff? You get these little punk kids around here talking about drive-by shootings. Oh, no.
These were drive-by donkeys, right?
Oh, no. No, you want to see a drive-by shooting? Put a convoy of Marines. We were out taking down a bunker. And they rolled the little tech with the 50 cal in the back of it, the little Toyota with the 50 cal back of it. They rolled it out into the intersection we had just gone through.
Oh my gosh.
So we go out, take down this bunker, turn around, and the guy running Telly and Charlie says, "Hey, we got a tech in the middle of the road going back." Well, it was a bad day for that guy because the guy running Telly and Charlie was a tow. Oh yeah.
For
Toe
sure.
blew, toe blew that guy completely out of the road. And so we're all driving back through the same intersection, and there's a little village right on the corner.
Uh-huh.
And there was this old man. When we came through, there was this old man, must have been 80, 90. He was just sitting there waving to us, waving to us. When we come back through, there's skinnies all around him shooting at us as we're driving back through. The last guy took a picture when we came back through.
Uh-huh.
That old man was standing there alive, waving at us, and
Wow.
everybody around him was dead.
Wow.
That's a Marine Corps drive-by shooting, gentlemen.
Brought to you by the U.S. Marines.
Hell
That's right.
yeah.
That
It
is too
was
funny.
awesome.
See, like a lot of people don't understand that. And this is the one thing I love about the BFW. A lot of vets that actually just go to the post and find other vets were within the same time frame that they were in. These are the stories. These are the types of stories that we always share, and for whatever reason, we always either A, add on to it, or B, just are amazed at the fact that these are like, did you really do that? Like, there's got to be pictures. Are there pictures? You got to prove it, right? Especially now.
It was, hey, that was a lot. I lived it. It was freaking incredible. Now, I mean, you had Marines hanging out of Humvee shooting. It was the craziest thing I'd ever seen in my entire life.
Man, it's awesome to see you relive it, because it's, even though it's been a minute, I'm sure that like these memories are very fond to you, and they're awesome to hear, because you can just see like a different emotion, a different part of you that you were there at that point in time. You just kind of go back and like, oh man, that was when I was just such a badass. I was like, nothing's gonna be, I'm just invincible. Now that's the remembrance I have of my time, because it was a different mindset, a different time frame that we had, but it just makes you feel like, you know what, I was part of something bigger than just me, and I'm helping, not only helping out other, the US, but also helping other people, trying to do something bigger than just me.
Absolutely. And that's what we do in the VFW every single day.
Right. So for your campaign, so when is it all end? Does it end at the national level, then when we're going to do the next bid, or the next election?
The Southern Conference will be in November of 2025. Or
Ooh.
I'm sorry, it'll be in January, January 2025 at the national. I'm saying January. I get her. Anyway, it'll be in June of 2025
Right. And
at the national convention.
so you still have about a year plus to
Yeah,
actually, oh my gosh, I didn't
yeah. I've
realize it
been
was like 2 years.
yeah, it's crazy. It used to be a 4-year campaign,
Uh-huh.
but they changed it up a couple of years ago and decided it was going to be a 2-year campaign. And seems like I'm the only one that stuck to that.
Wow.
Everybody else took off as soon as they did it. And are you familiar with conferences?
Well, I'm familiar with conference calls because I'm on them all the time for work.
Well,
But
in the VFW, the conferences are set up on a handshake deal. If you go and look at your bylaws,
uh-huh,
there's no such thing as a conference in the bylaws.
got
So
it.
it's something that everybody got together and says, "Hey, let's do it this way," and everybody said yes, and that's how it's been working. So
Okay, so the conferences are kind of what, in the BFW, are kind of what golf outings and golf deals are actually made in, right? Because a lot of huge business deals are actually made on the golf course. So
yes,
okay, all right. So
some,
this is where we're going. Okay,
so
got
yeah, somebody way back when decided on the golf course probably they
it.
just they decided we need to have conferences. We can't afford to travel all 50 states and campaign.
Well, okay, so in that particular sense, that actually does make sense, because we're if you're going on a national level, we don't have the unlimited Trump money, to go ahead and do all these 50 states.
Right.
So that actually does make sense. I mean, I understand that, and I think that it's actually on a more conservative level of spending or campaigning, I think that's actually a pretty good idea.
Well, yeah, and you got to figure this all comes right out of my pocket.
Oh yeah.
There's nobody that gets paid to do what we do.
Oh no,
So,
I mean, this is all volunteer. I mean, this is a volunteer
right.
organization. So,
And when you're campaigning, when I ran for Department of Texas Junior Vice, same thing. It all comes out of your pocket. The only way you get any help is if people make donations. That's the only assistance you get.
well, I will be donating to your campaign for water.
Aquafina.
There you go. There you go. So I understand. So whatever I can do to help, I will be your official podcast for your campaign. So whenever you want to come back onto this show, you are more than welcome, sir.
Anytime you want me, just let me know. This is exactly what we need to be doing, and this is part of my campaign speech: is technology. We've got to use the technology that we have to move forward.
Right.
I mean, there's just no way around it.
No, it is. We need to embrace this technology. I mean, it
Yep.
is. Well, it's not free because nothing is free anymore, other than the air that we're breathing. But it is so important, like you said, because you are able to reach a much bigger audience. Because my friends are going to tell their friends, and then your friends are going to tell their friends, and it just goes on, and it's just such a big cloud, and it can reach to a bigger thing. I can tell you right now that I'm hoping that we can go viral just on certain things that I'm gonna do when I do the editing. That I'm gonna put little TikTok videos with like you and I dancing like this, and then that we get virtually. We're gonna go virtual. I'm telling you right now.
Hey,
so
bring it.
So that was the one thing I was actually having a conversation with somebody else earlier today, actually with Eddie Terry. I said, "Hey, I have a question for you," and then I'm like, because I told him, I understand you're running for junior vice as well. So for this Department of Texas, I said, when you get to the point where you are the state commander, I said, I want to make sure that I am doing the podcast for the department. He's like, why don't you just call the adjutant now, and then he can have you talk to the commander. I was like, you do that? I'm like, you want me to do that now? He's like, yeah. This is exactly what you need to do.
Hey, I'm telling you, the upper echelon of the VFW, everybody above the post level is there to make you successful. That is all. We're just a support team.
Right.
That's all headquarters is. We're there to make you successful.
Right. And then people forget, like I think for a long time, our motto for the VFW was veterans helping veterans.
Hell yes.
Right. I mean, we somehow we forget all this stuff. We forget, like, we're not here just for me. Like, my current post commander says, there's two kinds of people that come to this post. And it says, one is the one that has the mentality of, what can the post do for me? And the second is, what can I do for the post?
Yep. Amen.
So, like, I know I'm preaching to the choir on this one because, I think you and I are of that mentality of like, I don't do it for my own recognition. I do it because I'm here to help others. And if I can use my voice through this medium to actually, reach out other people and say, hey, this is what we're doing. This is what the VFW really is about. And we can actually bring more issues that we are experiencing as veterans, not getting the right type of care, or not getting the right type of representation in Congress, or even in our local, communities and state, and, on and so on. This is where we can make a difference.
Absolutely. And that's what we get to do for the next 5 days: Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We're going to be rocking and knocking on doors on Capitol Hill, talking to these senators, these congressmen, and making sure they understand. And we've got VFW members from every state in the Union, Europe, everywhere are here this week.
This is awesome. I'm just so glad, and I am so thankful that you took the time, even though you were stuck in traffic, and you still stuck to your guns and say, I want to still come on and do this. I really, I'm so thankful and appreciative of the fact that you took the time out of your busy schedule to come on and just have a good time with me here, and then for at least 30 minutes. That means the world to me, because you know what I mean. You're to me, when I first came into the VFW, you were the oncoming commander. I literally joined, and then I was like, okay. Then I really started getting involved, and you're like, oh yeah, Lynn Toomer's the new commander. I was like, okay, did I just walk into something? I don't understand what's going on right now. But all right, cool. I'm gonna roll this guy. And then they're like, oh, he's a Marine. I was like, well, that could either go really, really good or really, really bad. So we'll see which one is gonna go. But then as soon as you had your motto, make the VFW great again, I was like, that's it. I'm in. I don't have anything else to do.
Hey, and that's still my motto: keeping the VFW great, because that's what we do.
Exactly. But and it starts in the grassroots. It starts with a post. It starts with the individual member that goes on, and then to do bigger things, bigger and better things. And if we support the right type of leadership, I believe that we as an organization are able to do great things for the veteran community, not just for the VFW, but for veterans in as a whole.
Oh, for veterans, for your local communities, for the families. You've got to have the right leadership, and I preach that. When these guys come to talk to you at your post, or at your district meetings, they've got 2 or 3 minutes to get up there and say what they can say, and then they're done. You can't know a guy in 2 or 3 minutes. You got to pull them off to the side and say, hey, that's when you ask them the questions and get a feel for the right guy for the job. Not the guy that's been there the longest, but the right guy to do the job that you think is going to move forward in the direction that we need to move.
Right. Because, not just this organization, but I've been part of many organizations that the leadership has been stagnant, where there's no movement. They said, no, we've done this for years like this, and this is what works. It was like, and it worked then. People are evolving. There's a newer generation that is much more involved in technology. There are my generation of veterans. Right now we are with younger family kids, and a lot of times we are not able to go into a post because they're it has to be a family oriented post or organization. That is where we're lacking, and I think that's where something that we as an organization are kind of lacking a little bit, that we need to be more organized or more themed to a family oriented organization.
Absolutely. My post is that way. We went when non-smoking came around, our post went non-smoking because the city went non-smoking. We didn't want to be the only ones in town smoking. It was just a better move for us. And we had a Marine come in. We're close to the Joint Reserve Base there in Fort Worth. So they've got some active duty Marines on the base.
Right.
And we had a Marine and his wife and 2 kids come in. And his wife, he'd been a member of the VFW 2 months after he joined the Marine Corps. He was qualified for the VFW.
He must have gone to Korea.
And he joined, and so he's 28 years in the Marine Corps.
Wow.
And his wife had never been in a VFW, and he'd been a member for 20 years.
Wow.
Because of the smoke, can't bring the kids, yada yada yada.
Right.
And that's why when I was campaigning, first thing somebody asked me, well, how do we get these younger guys in here? Quit smoking.
Yeah.
And not quit smoking. Our post went non-smoking. We got a smoke shack out back, so you go outside to smoke.
Completely. Like our post, the back hall that we have, because we have the front is a canteen, and the back hall is our where we meet. The back hall is smoke free. The canteen, not so much. I mean, because that's where people want to go in there and socialize, and it's been like that for a long time. So you can't really break that. So but you're right. You have to meet somewhere in the middle, and I think that's great. It's a good way to do it. So I have one question for you though.
Okay.
You've been to my post, 2772.
Yes, sir.
You came here for our district meeting one time. Have you heard or have you ever met a 95-year-old U.S. Marine veteran, Mr. James Hahn?
Yes.
You have. Okay.
Yes.
So you understand why he means a lot to me, because this post, without him, I think it would be I mean, we'd still go on, but I think he brings his post. And I wanted to bring it to you because as a Marine, you understand that if you're a Marine and you've been to not only one, not two, but three of the biggest conflicts that this country has seen, this man was World War II, Korea, and Vietnam, and
Yep.
he was part of the Frozen Chosen in Korea, and he attributes himself still being alive because he was eating Tootsie Rolls in Korea. Right? Do you remember the story?
Yep.
He eats these Tootsie Rolls in Korea. So now the Tootsie Roll company, what they do is they do a lifetime supply for him of Tootsie Rolls with the American flag on it. So whenever you come back to our post, you're gonna see that in the front canteen we have his uniform, and you'll see the little Tootsie Rolls on the display there. So this is the actual uniform. But what I want to ask you is, I'm going to do a 3-series podcast with him, record it, because he is 95, and I hate to say it, but he's getting up there, right? We're losing World War II veterans left and right, and they're very few and far between now. So when I do these recordings, especially for either Korea or Vietnam, I would like for you to come and be part of the show that day. So when I ask him certain questions, and you say, you ask him several questions. So would you be willing to do that?
Absolutely.
Mr. Han will be so happy when I tell him, hey, Mr. Han, the past commander, Lynn Toomer, said he wanted to come and see it. He's going to be so happy. I'm telling you, he loves it. Every time we say, we put attention, he just stands up and just kind of, I think he's asleep, so he wakes up. So I think that's what's really happening when he gets up, but he stands right up in attention. But it's the cutest thing I've ever seen. But he's
completely possible.
Exactly. But Commander, I really want to thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today. I know you're a busy man, so but you taking the time in the busy schedule, especially being in a business right now for in DC, doing all your campaigning stuff, this really means the world to us, for the Texas District 1, VFW, and then for my post, because this is what we are about. We want to get more information out, and if I can help you with your campaign in any way, I am here for you. Just remember that when you do get to that top echelon, I want to be part of your staff there.
Hell yeah.
Commander, thank you so much. Hang out after we say goodbye, hang out for just a few minutes, and then we'll be there. For everybody else, thank you so much for joining this live broadcast. Commander, thank you so much. We should see you soon.
Thank you, sir.